Is a CARES Act 2 going to target Uber and Lyft? This is LALATE with a major update for Wednesday, May 6th. Thanks to you for joining. As always, like this video and subscribe for daily updates. All right, let's get right to it. We're going to do two things today. We're going to cover both the CARES Act 2 and big developments as reported first earlier today on LALATE, and also get to your questions. As always, drop your questions if you have any to the video below, and we will respond to them tomorrow. All right, CARES Act 2. A proposed second stimulus check and part of the CARES Act 2 took greater face today when members of Congress detailed that they intend to do in CARES Act 2 exactly what members of certain states and cities are doing legally this week. California announced today and yesterday that it has filed a major lawsuit along with members of several cities, including this city, Los Angeles County, against Uber and Lyft to get money back to you as drivers. The allegations are much the same as what members of Congress are putting forward in a second stimulus package called CARES Act 2. As you remember, CARES Act 1 was passed back in March. But CARES Act 2 is going to include more than just second stimulus checks, but also perhaps back pay for Uber and Lyft drivers and protections that going forward they will have the health and medical benefits and employee benefits that they were not provided before. The details of this are astounding. Basically, the way it works is Uber and Lyft classifies its drivers as independent contractors, and it does so in California, at least, under a California ordinance and a California law, but also on a national level based upon a tiered category, a list of criteria you have to go through. Congress and local and state officials now believe that Uber and Lyft are exploiting those categories and are actually treating its drivers, who Congress considers now, or at least members of Congress now consider as employees, as independent contractors, to one, pay them less, and two, not provide them benefits. What does this mean for you? CARES Act 2 would include a lot of things beyond just second stimulus checks, but also perhaps back pay and also protections going forward. The allegations are that CARES Act 2 should address anyone that worked for Uber or Lyft in the last few months and worked more than 80 hours per month. That is believed to be currently the threshold focus of members of Congress. On a legal standpoint, the bodies that are now suing Uber and Lyft consider it a totally different situation. They think any work is classifying you as independent, as an employee. What does this mean for you? It means two different things. First, you could be getting back money, as will be addressed. We're doing 5 videos today. One of the videos is going to go really into depth, and that is our second stimulus check video, which we're going to deliver you to this afternoon as well. Goes into really that you could face up to $2,500 getting refunded back to you if you're an Uber Lyft driver. No other channel is reporting this because this is really shocking news, and we received it later today from one of the parties that named the lawsuit, one of the entities that named the lawsuit, that filed the lawsuit, the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office. All right, so what is going on? Basically, Uber and Lyft are under fire, and the news hit like a brick today. Immediately during trading hours, Uber issued a statement. Actually, I correct myself. Uber released a memo to its employees. These are actually its staffers, not its drivers, responding to the fact that Uber is now announcing 3,700 employees being laid off. Will this also impact drivers? We don't know yet. But the CEO said in a leaked memo obtained by CNBC and LALATE, says, we are looking at many scenarios and each of them at every cost, both variable and fixed across the company. The statement, the memo released to employees also said, we want to be smart to move forward and to retain as much and many of our great people as we can and treat everyone with dignity, support, and respect. Yes, but you're wondering, how about those benefits? Does the CEO address the benefits in his memo? Well, he has this remark, which is not necessarily on point, but seems to skirt the issue. This is not in any way a reflection of these employees' efforts or contributions to getting us to where we are, as a service that everyone associates with movement and earnings opportunities. We wouldn't be here without the efforts, and I want to personally thank them for everything they've done for Uber. Well, take that for the way it's worth. It does not thank Uber drivers, and it does not thank the Uber drivers who have been denied benefits that they could have been afforded as employees, and does not thank the Uber drivers that could have got to the benefits financially on a salary basis if they have been categorized as employees. But rather it thanks staffers, administrative officials, executives. Do you think that's appropriate? Let's talk about comments now. Let's get to your comments from yesterday. You dropped a few comments in response to our video on CARES Act 2 yesterday. And what did you say? Well, Lori said, what is PUA and how does it differ from PPP and EIDL? Great question, Lori. PUA has become one of those financial mechanisms that's gotten very little coverage and a lot of confusion because people just really don't know what it is. And it's good that it's brought up in this video, which is really about addressing independent contractors, self-employed individuals. PUA is a program that was adopted a result of the CARES Act 1. Government officials realized that if you are in a workplace and as a result of coronavirus, you had your hours reduced or reduced to nothing or reduced partially, that you suffered a financial harm. But they also realized that under current legislation before March, the only benefits you could get were if you were an employee. If that workplace relationship was employer-employee, and to be very literal, I mean a W-2. You worked for Macy's, you worked for Home Depot. They realized there was no benefits for independent contractors. These are artists, musicians, painters, songwriters, Uber drivers, people who own their own business, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, a DBA, and they realized you didn't have those benefits. So they passed PUA. PUA essentially provides the same benefits to you as a PUA applicant that's eligible and approved as an employed individual. And what are those benefits and how do you apply for them? We've done a lot of videos on them. I'm not going to go through all the details, but here they are generally. You would go to your state's unemployment website. You go in and set up a username and password, and you would apply for PUA. It stands for Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and it is generally the same application for that or for unemployment. When you go through it, you would consider in your mindset everything that is self-employment. So if you are self-employed, you answer questions as self-employed. When asked, do you have an employer? You do not have an employer. The fact that you may employ yourself through your own corporation is not what they're asking. They're asking whether you have a Macy's or a Home Depot that employs you. But how does it differ from PPP and EIDL? Great question. So PPP is a loan, and EIDL is either an EIDL grant or EIDL loan. PPP is issued to either self-employed individuals or businesses. And it's an instrument that we have on this channel told you to stay away from. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is, May 6th. I believe by June, we're going to be ramping up PPP videos because a lot of you that got the PPP loan are going to be very concerned. PPP is a loan based upon the number of employees that you had at the time the coronavirus hit, but it's based upon 2019 calculations. However, you're required to pay those employees, get them back to work upon receipt of the loan, and to submit evidence that you paid them for loan forgiveness by middle June. If you submit that documentation, it's either not processed by the lender or you don't do it right, you won't have your loan forgiven. You'll be stuck with a loan with a maturity that's very short, and an interest rate, and a principal that has to be repaid. It's a bad scenario. EIDL was a grant that was launched by SBA, and it was allowing you up to $10,000 per business, but has been reduced to $1,000 per employee. It went live approximately March 30th and ended in middle April. There's also an EIDL loan that was offered during that same period of time. Great loan. Very few people thought of it or applied for it. SBA long-term, no collateralization. it has also been exhausted. However, this last Monday, EIDL went live again with a new loan that is purely for agricultural businesses. And if you are one, apply right away. Troy has a question. We hope we get the second round, because I just got my first round already. Great point. A lot of people are still not getting their first round of benefits. And finally, Mark has a comment. Great channel. I learn something new every day. Well, thank you, Mark. You know, we learn something new every day because of you. A lot of our stories, whether it's EIDL or PUA, are based upon what's happening to you. We don't know what's happening to the consumer, the individual, the single parent, the small business owner, unless we hear it from you. That's why your comments have been so critical to this channel and its growth. Really, we're on day 8 of this channel. And we don't know where problems are up unless we hear them. You'll see we have 30 pages of comments we're going to go through in the other videos that we're producing today, and a lot of them have shocking revelations just in the last 24 hours. It's that type of stuff no news site would ever know unless they spoke to hundreds of employees or hundreds of applicants. But because of the wonderfulness of what you've brought to this channel, we are able to hear your comments, answer them, but also see where the problems are, investigate the problems, and get back to you with answers, hopefully, within a 24-hour period. So, as a result, if you as a applicant for any of these instruments, whether currently, pending, or in the future, face a problem, drop it in the comments below. We'll respond back in tomorrow's video, hopefully, and provide you insight and updates as well. As always, stay with LA for more.